Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's you and the senorita. Woofer blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Back in the mama seat, top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme say. Running game like a cheater, I'm born like they're a cheater. Complete on the marathon, I mean the very last meter.
You ever get to a point in your life? You ever get to a point in your life where you're like, oh, I just need a win. I just need a win. I think a lot of folks feel that way at the moment. Those listening in Orlando might feel that way at the moment. And that win that's intangible. It's hard to put your finger on exactly what that win might be. At work, at home. You just need something to go right. You need some pieces to fall into place. You need a win. Somewhere, somehow. You know, it's interesting. It's interesting being so connected to the city of Orlando through this show and through Real Radio 104.1, which carries us. Because the experience of what's taken place there over the last several days, we can't help but be more connected to it than folks in other parts of the country. Something that rocked all of America. All of America has wept for Orlando. But we are, I think, a little more tied, a little more keyed in, a little more connected and empathetic to the city of Orlando than a lot of other folks, just by nature of the feedback that we get from listeners, from the conversations we have with people that tweet us and write us. You can do that at ADSXE is where you can tweet me, or you can email me, ad@rock1053.com or ad@iheartmedia.com, or wherever you want to email me. I've got like 20 emails for this company. They all go to the same place. Just hit me up wherever you want to. But I think we're a little bit more intrinsically connected to what has been happening. And for that reason, we see a town that is still going through what it's going through. We feel those feelings that you are feeling. We understand it. The rest of the world has to get on with their lives. So people are compassionate. But other things start to fill them. And it's only natural, and it's what happens. But we understand that you are still going through them if you're in Orlando. I guess, it's like going to my cousin's service the other week. People came from far and wide to support him and his family and pay their respects and offer love in a time where people really needed it. My aunt, my uncle, my cousin, my other cousin really needed our support and our love. But after 3-4 days sitting with the family, mourning, attending the visitation, attending the funeral, we had to go back to our lives. We had things that we had to do. We had jobs to be done, kids to take care of, dogs to walk, bills to pay. And I know that we left my aunt, my uncle, my husband's widow, after all having been there at once. We left them with a reality to deal with, and there's nothing we can do about that. But it is these days when people start to have to go back to their own lives, still care, still connected, still wishing things were different, wishing there was more that we could do. But we need to get back to what we were doing before. And that leaves those that lost something or someone in a very real place, in a place of mourning, in a place where there's not everybody in the world to lean on all of a sudden, and you're left with reality. And I'm telling you now that this is a place of strength. This is a place of compassion. This is where you will be made, forged in the fires of hell. If you're going through hell, keep going. Winston Churchill.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, but yo, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what I
So if you are in Orlando, listening on Real Radio 104.1. If you are in Orlando, we understand. We know. We have a sense of what it is you're going through. Because now is the time where, similar to when a friend, a relative, a loved one passes away, after a humongous show of support and love, people have things that they have to look after. That support system that was so prevalent in the first several days of something like this starts to recede a little bit. And you're left with some realities. And this is where your true strength of character will show through. This is where who you are will have a chance to shine. You will be defined not by this tragedy, not by this atrocity, but by your reaction to it. And understand that after this has died down, that's when certain feelings are going to sink in. Maybe you've been in shock. Maybe you've been in mourning. Maybe you've been set into a sense of fight or flight out of a need to help your fellow human being. Maybe you've been operating on pure adrenaline, as I know so many have been in this situation. Well, that will wear off. You have to relax. You have to take a breath. You have to let the feelings wash over you. And for a lot of people who have been operating on something like pure adrenaline or a need to help someone else, this might be when things really start to sink in. And this is when I would encourage you to feel the feelings. Be who you have to be during this time. And if you need it, definitely take some time to talk to some folks. Our listener, Lauren, who is a counselor that has been giving me resources to pass along to you. And if you need someone to talk to, email me, ad@iheartmedia.com, and I will forward you all the information I have. Has been keeping me updated with the emotional state of people in Orlando. She's a counselor. She's taking calls, and she's very keyed in to how things are going. And it seems like it was action stations for her, as you would imagine. And now it's still action stations. But she needs a moment. Maybe, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but to stop and take a breath. Been going nonstop for the better part of a week, and now people are tired. She sent me a message this morning saying with the VA being here, There's trauma that this is triggering in our local veterans who are coping with service-related PTSD. So many in the community are potentially affected. Officers experiencing tremendous feelings of guilt for what they perceive as a failure. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And this is really, really a time for the community to band together stronger than ever before. And you, as an individual, take some time. Take some time to check on your friend, your relative, your neighbor, your loved one. Take some time for yourself to catch your breath, to let feelings wash over you. And please go talk to somebody if you need to talk to someone. There are resources out there, like I said. Hit me up. I'll send you everything I've got. ad@iheartmedia.com. And these situations, while terrible and tragic, really do, at times, evidence the absolute best in people. I'm sure if you're in Florida, you've heard the story of the former Marine who saved dozens of lives. 24-year-old guy named Imran Yusuf, bouncer at Pulse. Worked there ever since he got back from serving as a Marine in Afghanistan. He also happens to be Hindu, which a lot of people seem to be pointing out. I'm not sure what big of a deal it is. I guess it's just an example of someone being outside the norm, someone being different, someone having a faith or belief that during this time where the country is incredibly divided, a lot of folks might be suspicious of. So I guess that's why folks are making a lot of the fact that he happens to be Hindu. But when the gunshots started going off, because of his time he spent in the military, he recognized the sound immediately. He knew what that was. And he put his own life on the line to save so many others. I've got a great piece of audio from this guy, which unbelievably inspiring the humanity this guy displayed. And a very valuable thing for us to hear. We'll get to it next. Thank you so much for joining us.
I guess that I should stop by saying that all of this story is true. Even though the names are changing, if you think that it is, the song is probably about you. Tell me as a kid that had so much promise, but it all went wrong the day he popped his first pill. Tell me as a kid who was talented and smart, but ever since the day he started going downhill.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah, give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. Well, it's a new one. Here I come again, coming again, taking it back to the place where I'm picking up the pen. And before I started, it's already a killer. When you know that you're good, I gotta say that it's a thriller. Hey,
I think we should do some transparent radio, Funkhauser. I think we should let people know exactly what is going on in the lower parts of our intestinal tracts.
Well, Mom's not listening today, so it'll probably be okay.
I don't know how. It's not like we ate at the same restaurant or anything. But I believe either I'm coming down with some sort of unbelievably nasty flu. And if that's the case, well, there's some record label weasels coming to my office to pester me today. And because of the amount of hours they take out of my life, I'm looking forward to passing this on to them.
Bad time to take a best of. Ha
oh. Yeah. And Funkhauser, you managed to What'd you eat? What do you suppose you ate?
I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's a meat dish, meats and cheeses. It starts with a C. Charcuterie, maybe?
Charcuterie, if you're in France, which basically means meat and cheese. It's not
basically
like
how I sounded last night, whatever you just said.
And so, Funkhauser and I, I've experienced projectile things from both ends today. Funkhauser, you're limited to just the lower half.
Yes, fine.
So we almost didn't make it into the studio today, but we were like, we can't throw a best of radio show on, just like we can't. We're on in Orlando, and we
Kim Kardashian's in the news today.
yeah, no, can't do that. Can't do that. You know, like, A, can't do that. B, have gotten such a sense of being a part of this community from the incredible feedback that we've gotten from the people that are in Orlando. I didn't want to not be there with you today, if that makes sense. And I'm not patting myself on the back for having made it in. I'm just saying at any second I might ask Funkhauser to throw on a song while I make a mad and awkward dash while clenching things together off to the bathroom. I have I have something to throw up in next to me, and we are.
Please. Can we change the subject?
Oh God,
man.
So, just FYI, if there's if today's show.
People are dealing with much bigger problems today.
Oh,
however, this is the biggest problem in our life right here.
It's not even something that I would call a problem. I'm just making an explanation. If there's any long silences, or if it sounds like I'm sweating and shivering behind the microphone today, it's
I have no chance. The bathroom is too far away.
Oh, really?
Sorry, guy next door.
All right. So, as these situations often do, what happened in Orlando has a tendency to evidence the very best in people. It's a horrible way to get there, but it is a silver lining and something that gives you a little bit of hope in humanity. When you hear stories like the ones about the 24-year-old guy named Imran Yusuf, bouncer at the Pulse nightclub, worked there ever since he got back from serving as a Marine in Afghanistan. When the gunshots started going off, he recognized the sound immediately. He saw a bunch of people panicking in a hallway, and he knew if they could open the door at the end, they could escape. But they were frozen in shock and didn't know what to do.
3 or 4 shots go off, and you could just tell it was a high caliber. Everyone froze. I'm here in the back, and then I saw people start pouring into the back staff hallway, and they just started to pack everyone. I'm just screaming, open the door, and no one's moving because they're scared. And there was only one choice: either we all stay there and we all die, or I could either take the chance to get shot, save everyone else. And I jumped over, opened that latch, and we got everyone as we can out of there.
How many people went through the door?
60, 70. As soon as people found out that door was open, they kept just pouring out.
You saved a lot of folks.
I wish I could save more, to be honest. There's a lot of people that are dead. There's a lot of people that are dead.
Unbelievably courageous man who, in a tough situation, was willing to lay down his own life so that he could protect the lives of others. Even though he wasn't in the field, even though he wasn't a soldier at the time. That sense of sacrifice, that sense of doing for others, so powerful, so inspiring. So, we are going to keep doing this. Oh, gosh. Oh, sometimes you need a little levity, and this time it comes from Scott Briscoe, who had the following advice for us, Funkhauser, based on what we're going through intestinally at the moment. He said, "Don't trust farts." Which is...
Yeah, that's thanks for the rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Also wash your thumbs.
Oh my God. What was it? Jim Brewer said, "You let laughter be the healer." In all the situations, Jim Brewer said that when he came on the show. Laughter has always been the healer for him. Laughter has always been the healer for him and his family. When his career has been in the toilet, when everything is going horrifically wrong, when his wife has got cancer for the second time, he goes out of his way to find the laughter in a situation, and that is how he heals, that is how he copes, and that is how he moves on. And, ever since he was on the show and talked about that, I was like, let laughter be the healer. Here's the thing. Really helps if you have someone as funny as Jim Brewer in your midst. To have laughter be the healer, you need to have somebody that can make you laugh around. And I don't know. We don't all have that. We don't have access to Jim Brewer's beautiful heart and hilarious mind on tap at all times. So sometimes I think finding the laughter can be a little bit tougher for all of us. But Scott Briscoe with a fart joke gave us a reason to laugh. But we're going to continue to do this. We're going to continue to read every single email that we get. We're going to continue to offer every single piece of comfort that we can to the folks in Orlando that listen on Real Radio 104.1 at ADSXE at Funk FM. That's where you can tweet us or you can email us, ad@iheartradio.com. What's your email address, Funkhauser, in case somebody wants to reach out?
bfunkhauser@premiernetworks.com. Yeah, write that down. Just email AD. He'll forward it.
Yeah, I'll pass it on. But yeah, we will be here in any way we can for you for as long as you need it, as you go through the time that you need to take to come out on the other side of the hell that you are in at the moment. I'll say it once again. If you're in hell, keep going. Winston Churchill. All right. So, Funkhauser, do we want to do some news? You want to fill us in on what's going on with the rest of the world?
I guess so. We may be pretty far away, but can't stop thinking about you.
No.
It feels like we're there.
Well, I mean, it really is. It's honestly, it's the people of Orlando, the people that have taken us into their hearts and just have us on in the background, let us keep them company on the radio. First thing I think of in the morning, last thing I think of when I go to sleep at night. Really are. We love you, and thank you so much for letting us be a voice in your town. All right, Funkhauser. What else is up?
All right, let's see here now there. Kevin Hart's house was robbed, and the thieves made off with $500,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah. It's a lot. And he lives in a neighborhood in Los Angeles where celebrities live. You would imagine that you would be safe from that sort of thing, but no, not so much. Can happen to anyone, anytime. I think he was actually home when the robbery happened. The thieves just had to hold the stuff really high, like over their heads as they walked out, so he couldn't reach it. Go on.
It ain't funny, man. Larry David will be doing another season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Our prayers have been answered, replied a spokesperson for the National Coalition of Extremely White People. Oh, God, I love that show so much. And I'm extremely white.
My uncle's in it.
What?
Well, sort of.
Really? Oh, not really. The character called Funkhauser?
Yeah.
I'm such a huge fan of Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm and all things Seinfeldian. But when I found out that I was going to get to work with someone called Funkhauser, I was beside myself with joy because Larry David has a Funkhauser. Now I have a Funkhauser. Any way in which I can be more like Larry David, I'm all for it.
Keep going. We'll reassess this in 40 years when you're
right,
short, old, and bald.
I think he's
funny.
Isn't he tall? Thanks very much. Another 40 years till I get funny. Well, so there's something to look forward to. Hang in there, listeners. Apparently, we just got 40 years of this mediocrity until I managed to coax a belly laugh from you. Thanks very much for that, Funkhauser. Go on. Let's move right along.
Fine, sure. Charlie Sheen is endorsing a new line of condoms.
Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah, I heard about this. What are they called? Like, there's a specific brand name.
I'm just waiting for the joke because there's 12 of them you can think of.
Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen is now a condom spokesperson. Let's see. Oh, they're called Lilo Hex condoms, I think, is what they are. Apparently, they have the first significant condom redesign in 70 years.
I don't know why it hasn't happened, but the condom has not changed for 70 years until right now. I sincerely believe I can truly support Lilo Hex and influence the use of them through my experiences, through my life. There's an odd combination now. People still want to be like me or experience my life, but there's a little detail that they want no part of, so they can avoid that by using this.
Former poster boy for Weird, Charlie Sheen is now the official spokesman for a new prophylactic company. While we're not suggesting that Charlie's wild and crazy lifestyle has caught up with him, the name of the new company might be a hint. Introducing new 2.5-inch men, specially designed and sold in boxes of 100, or as Charlie calls it, the Weekender. New 2.5-inch men raincoats protect against STDs, unplanned pregnancies, and tiger blood. Best of all, they're guaranteed. If you don't like wearing them, Ashton Kutcher will stop by your house and wear them for you. New 2.5-inch men. Because if you're gonna be sinning, why not be
winning?
Aren't you glad I don't read the news in that voice? Wouldn't that get annoying?
Yeah, it would. I wonder what the significant redesign is on these condoms. I would imagine if they're Charlie Sheen's, they're also probably the absolute best condoms to protect your heroin from stomach acid, but potato. Lilo Hex condoms. Can you look that up, Funkhauser?
Sure.
And I just want to find out what the significant redesign is. Do it during a break, and we'll discuss exactly how that's different.
That's interesting.
Huh. Go on, what else?
Vivica Fox says Donald Trump has turned into a real jerk.
Was she on The Celebrity Apprentice? Is that like...
I can't remember. Probably.
I think she was.
Wasn't everybody in from like B and C Celebrity Land? I think it went like 6 seasons.
Yeah. Well, apparently now, I guess she had some nice stuff to say about him in the past. Now she says that he's turned into a real jerk. Because, that's who you trust to judge another person's character. The girl that was too crazy for 50 cents.
Days like this when I feel untouchable, I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid, jamming on the one like Theo and Stevie. I know it sounds crazy, but you gotta believe me when I feel like I can't make it through. I try to think, what would Cliff tell Theo to do?
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
So you want to hear what Tech Insider says about the Lilo Hex condom?
Ooh, do I?
Why it's different, why it represents a significant redesign. They paint a pretty vivid picture. They say you're having sex, your partner locks eyes on yours, and say those 3 magic words, stop time. The condom broke. Swedish intimacy company Lilo is getting into the Swedish intimacy company Lilo is getting into the condom manufacturing business to prevent uncomfortable and unsafe situations like this from happening. 20-year-old company dubbed the Apple of the pleasure product industry has reinvented the rubber. They say From across the room, the Hex condom looks pretty ordinary, an eggshell-colored piece of latex that unrolls into a specific shape. But up close, it becomes apparent where the name comes from. A faint hexagonal patterned honeycomb lattice is etched into the material. It's stronger, less likely to tear, and potentially more comfortable than a traditional condom. So it's kind of like, those ripstop pants. You see that they look like any other kind of pants, but if you look closer, there's a little sort of like lattice that runs across them. You ever had a pair of those?
No,
My mom used to get them for me when I was a kid. Like, you're tearing all your clothes. This stuff is like military grade. It's called ripstop. They sound like ripstop condoms is what they sound like. So, making them more trustworthy. My whole thing is with that situation. Like, you need them not to break, but how do I put this, Funkhauser? Carefully, I believe is how you would put it. But there's all sorts of things that you can catch that don't require. There's certain parts of the area of destruction that are not covered, and this is where stuff like herpes and genital warts, and even if you are wearing protection, can be transmitted. And I always thought that a condom manufacturer that was worth its salt would find a way to provide more coverage, like more, and I don't think anybody really has managed to do that yet. And there you go. But these are apparently ripstop condoms, and Charlie Sheen is all about them. More news, my friend. More news.
Outback Steakhouse in the news now offers its bloomin' onion appetizers topped with loaded fries, which have 3 types of cheese and bacon.
Given the distress of the old tum-tum that we're going through at the moment, I wish you hadn't just talked about that.
Oh, you're not right, the cheese and
Hold
bacon.
On. Hold. Actually, don't talk about it. Wow.
Are you gonna make it? Are you gonna make it?
I think we're good. I think I was about to, for the first time ever, throw up on the air.
Ooh, that would have been
that is not a good taste in the back of my throat. Whew. Yep. Bloomin' onions covered in. Next thing, I can't even get to the punchline.
Scott Disick was spotted parking in a handicap spot.
He's the guy that was married to a Kardashian, or I don't think they ever got married. Didn't he just father some Kardashian spawn and then cheated on, who was it, Kourtney?
I think so.
Yeah, never sort of had a job, just managed to impregnate a Kardashian and was a reality show hanger-on. And he's catching some heat because he was spotted parking in a handicap spot. Although, really, in Scott Disick's defense, you got to understand that he's awful. Just awful. So there's that. Go on.
Sum 41 announced they're making a new album.
Did you just say Sum 41?
Yeah, isn't that their name?
No. Sum 41?
That's what I said.
Oh. What about them?
They're Sum 41 announced they're making a new album.
Uh-huh.
What's the matter?
And another huge news from 2001, a dude with a Nokia clipped to his cargo pants screamed, "What's up?" after meeting the Dell dude. I actually heard some of the new Sum 41 album. Some record label weasels like, "Hey, we're working on this, and what do you think?"
Hey, please play this.
It's really good. Actually, surprisingly good. That guy, that Derek
They give you a new skateboard to say that?
Yeah, I still have I still skateboard regularly. I just kind of push around my. Last time I got on a half pipe. Well, it's funny because I managed to navigate the half pipe just fine several years ago, but as I was leaving the skate park, I got up on a mini ramp, and this was actually in Port St. Lucie, Florida, not far from Orlando. And I was on this. I was at this skate park. I dropped in onto the. I dropped in on the half pipe. Did not die. and thought, hey, I'm kind of a badass. And as I'm leaving, I was like, oh, let me just roll over the mini ramp. That's all I'm going to do, roll over it. Don't know what happened. Lost a little bit. I think I was too casual with it because, you still got to really push to get up a good enough head of steam. You got to kick and push to get over that thing, and I did not. I was a little too cash with it. Skateboard flipped out from under me, and I jacked my ankle so unbelievably badly, which I'd done a bazillion times on skateboards and motorbikes and things of that nature. But that was when I was like, I've come to accept. I am the type of skater that does not shred. I am the type who rolls. But I do still skateboard, like around my little community every once in a while when I'm out with Millhouse. I had this idea that Millhouse, my dog, would be big enough or strong enough to be able to pull me a little bit on my skateboard. Not so much. He doesn't love it. Also doesn't enjoy the wheels. Like has a fundamental distrust of wheels that roll, which makes it extremely awkward when he goes up and screams bloody murder to the neighbor that's in a wheelchair. Like you just feel terrible. I'm like, it's not you. He's not prejudiced against people that don't have use of their legs. He just hates the wheels on your wheelchair. Sorry.
I tried to skateboard once. I was 23 and I fell.
You got to start before you're 23.
I know. Oops. It hurt really bad.
Anyway, new Sum 41 album. You probably won't have to give me a skateboard to play it. It's not bad.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So, folks have been talking about this a lot. I would imagine in Orlando, folks have been talking about this a lot. But there's this idea that the shooter in Orlando was a closeted homosexual. And that might have provided some part of the motivation for what he did. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Right now, though, let's roll through what remains of the news. Funkhauser.
Oh, President Obama said, there's never been anyone more qualified to be in the White House than Hillary Clinton.
Oh. I guess that's why he waited 14 months to endorse her. But there you go. Go on.
Hillary Clinton scored endorsements from President Obama, Elizabeth Warren, and Joe Biden.
Oh. There's a walks into a bar joke in that somewhere.
And it ends with something about tax brackets or something.
Probably.
A new study found that people are spending way less time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat than they did 1 year ago.
You know, in a day and age where we feel like we as Americans, we as a society, we as a species, the human race, is devolving on a regular basis based on our constant reliance and the dehumanization of us through technology. Our constant reliance on and the dehumanization of us through technology, it's encouraging to see something like this. Funkhauser, do you think you spend more or less time on your various social medias now than you did a year ago?
Way less.
Way less. Why?
You guys got to say some better stuff.
It's boring, right?
Yeah,
like,
come on.
You've seen all the pictures of lunches. You know where people stand politically.
My feed is full of hot girls, and I'm bored.
Yeah, it's boring. I think you hit the nail on the head.
I want a new social media that kills all of the other social media. You know, like deletes it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I have to be on every. Like, I was late to the party with Facebook. I was late to the party with Twitter. I was late to the party with Instagram. I was late to the party with all these various forms of social media. And I was resistant to it. I'm like, I'm in radio. It's about what comes out of the speakers. And then it was, no, it's really about how many hits your blog gets in addition to that. So I decided I would not be late.
That's like a diary, you know? It's like
yeah. No, but you use social media to drive traffic to your blog. I guess this is behind the curtain stuff, but whatever. Now, I am the number one blogger in all of iHeartMedia at the moment. Yeah. Uh-huh.
You mean word count or rank?
No, rank. I get more hits than anybody else in the company, and that apparently has added to my job security at times where people, make no mistake about it, wanted to get rid of me for one reason or another. So I find it is incumbent upon me to be up in the game with social media. So now the moment one comes out, I just download it in case it becomes the next Twitter or Snapchat. So I'm on every form of social media that there is, and not one of them has a new idea, really. You know, like, I don't even remember the name of the one that was supposed to be like less spammy. You had to have an invite for it for about a week. You were super cool if you had an invite to... Oh, Ello. Remember that? ELLO? Yeah. And that just turned out to be a thing that nobody was on. What's the Google one?
Circles?
Circles. That thing.
Hey, did you hear SoundCloud just got bought by Twitter also?
Oh, really? SoundCloud got bought by Twitter?
They're funding them or something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
All these social media is getting together.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what their kids look like.
You know, one thing that absolutely blows my mind. Remember when MySpace became like such a big deal for bands and music? Like, how many plays does their MySpace player has? Oh, like a lot. Fine. And now it's all about YouTube. And I have to imagine that with everything that they can do, there is a very specific reason why Facebook have not included some sort of music or audio player for what they do. Like, you got to go to a third party thing. There's no music player on Facebook. Yeah. And I have to imagine that's something they're keeping in their back pocket when they decide it's time to deliver a death blow to Spotify and Pandora and things like that. But yeah, no, that's very, very interesting that Facebook don't have that. And I don't know. But that's the thing. It's all getting boring. I think that's why Funkhauser and everybody else spending less time. Yep, new study finds that people are spending way less time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat than they did a year ago. Just in case you wondered why some actual work was getting done at your office. There you go. What else?
Yeah, starting to see people again. Hey, I saw you online. Now you're here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
A new naked restaurant in Japan will weigh diners before they enter to make sure they aren't too overweight.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're like me, like, the diets always start off well and then end badly. Like, first few days, you're like, I'll have 1 ounce of tofu, 1 ounce of lean protein, 1 serving of kale, and something with 1 net carb in it. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, time for bed. That was dinner, and I'm satisfied. And by the end of the week, you'll have 1 serving of tofu, 1 piece of lean protein, 1 net carb, and 1.5 sleeves of Oreo cookies. How'd those get into the house? Oh no, it happened again. I guess I'll just waddle and sweat my way through another summer. That's my experience of dieting. But this might actually work. You know, if before you're allowed to eat, you have to strip naked and be weighed, that might curb the old appetite. If I'm sitting naked across from you being weighed as you're trying to eat, that'll definitely curb your appetite. In other words, this restaurant has a
thing that just keeps happening there, because this isn't the first naked restaurant
story.
News. Is that a thing?
So this is the judgmental naked restaurant. Like, I think there's one that opened up in England where they want to provide a natural experience. So you go in there naked, you eat with your hands, it's served to you not necessarily on a plate or in a bowl. Like, that's just trying to get back to nature. Like, that's taking that whole idea of paleo one step further. Like, I remember this CrossFit-y guy telling me, he was like, I eat paleo like the cavemen did, and it's really been great for me. He was like, sometimes to be more like the Paleolithic human being, I eat with my hands. I was like, you're not losing more or less weight. You're not cutting body fat just because you eat with your hands. He's like, no, but, I want to go all the way. I'm like, really? Back to a time before they had things like hospitals and penicillin? That's what you're aspiring to be? I get it. Cut carbs, eat food that's grown naturally. Sure, fine, whatever. But the whole eating naked with your hands thing, yeah, no, I'll take the big old passeroo on that one. I would prefer not to ever eat anything with my hands. I hate that whatever it is, the food residue that you have on your fingers, no matter how many times I wash it off, I can't make chicken wings go away. It takes a full day and a half and several showers to get the sense that I just ate chicken wings off of me. So the idea of eating naked is horrific. But yeah, this is like the judgmental naked eating, where they weigh you, strip you naked, and then decide whether or not you're allowed into the restaurant to eat. And otherwise, the restaurant has a no me allowed policy. Go on.
People all over the world stripped down on Saturday for the annual World Naked Bike Ride.
Yeah. A holiday that you don't necessarily want to participate in.
I didn't know about
but
it
you definitely
until it went by my house once.
Oh, it went by your house? You saw it?
I was coming home from a hard day's of work or a weekend or something, and then 200 naked people on bikes come by my house.
No kidding. Any of them good looking?
I don't know. When you see just 200 naked people, you can't spot,
the hot chick.
Particulars.
Yeah. I just think that's like such an example of bad naked. It's just like you're hunched over something, not a flattering thing to do or be. And what if you have to stop, lean over, and fix your bike chain? Like none of the above is an attractive image in my mind, but I still would have liked to have seen it. But yeah, last Saturday was the annual World Naked Bike Ride Day. This Saturday, by the way, World Thoroughly Clean Your Bike Seat Day. Ew.
Where's my squeegee?
All right. So, how much time do we have, Funkhauser?
Let's see, 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
That's enough time to cook Hot Pocket.
So, there's this idea. It's inevitable after a tragedy like the one in Orlando, like the atrocity like the one in Orlando, that we would want to know what could possibly possess someone to do something so unspeakably awful. Early explanations, ISIS, and homophobia. But the new option that surfaced is it's possible he was a closeted gay man himself, which sounds like tabloid gossip, but comes from legit sources. He was a regular at the nightclub over the past 3 years. And people think he was scouting out the location possibly, but a lot of folks say he was basically a regular. Witnesses have come forward who saw him drinking and talking. Sometimes he'd get loud, drunk, and belligerent. Oftentimes he would sit alone in the corner. He was using gay dating apps, several of them. ABC and MSNBC spoke to men who say that he'd contacted them on gay dating apps. And now there's this idea. Could he have been a self-hating gay man? His ex-wife and a former classmate say he was gay. Could there be another motivation, like someone specific he was targeting? Maybe. Hopefully, as more information comes out, we'll get a clearer picture of why he did what he did. I think Jack Bradshaw brought up the interesting point of, if it turns out that he was homosexual, will he be disavowed by the terrorist groups that are taking credit for what it is he did? But it's very much in keeping. It's very much in keeping with the pattern of shooters in the past, where almost universally, as these have been things that have been exacted upon their community. Almost universally, when something like this happens, it happens to people. People don't travel to do this sort of thing. They're making a statement to the folks that are around them. Maybe not in their lives, but around them. They're making a statement about their loneliness and isolation and doing something absolutely terrible. And if we are to believe that this guy sat alone in a gay bar that he was a regular at for years and years, you go to a bar to meet people, to socialize with people, to be around people. But if you're ill-equipped to be able to talk to them, and the only times you do talk to them, you get loud and belligerent and defiant. If you need to get that drunk, that outside of yourself, to even try to ineffectually connect with people. It is a behavior that screams that the person there wanted to connect, and for whatever reason couldn't, and chose to do so in the most horrible way imaginable. We have so much to learn about this situation, and so much we can learn from this situation, and it's an issue that touches all of us in a different way. But as always, until we really know what's going on, and even then, the answer, I believe, or the best answer right now, always love, never surrender. Thank you so much.